When looking at photos and videos of me as a kid, or even just like my 16, 17, 18-year-old self, I can't help but see a completely different person. Like the person that I'm seeing on screen isn't me. Of course, I know logically that it is me. The way that I act, just the way I speak and other actions, it's just so cringy to me, and I just cringe about how stupid I was and how little I know, which I'm sure is common for many people when they watch old videos of themselves. I don't know, I just feel very, very disassociated from the person on the screen. And I don't mean to be like very harsh on myself, saying like, oh, I don't want to be anything like I was when I was 14, but it's the truth. What annoys me as well is when people constantly bring up things that you did when you were that age or whatever, mistakes that I made. For example, about a year and a half ago, I was just a really egotistical person. I had repercussions because of that, and sometimes my mum, of all people, brings it up. And it annoys me because the person that she's referring to no longer exists. Like, I'm no longer that person, I've grown. Why are you holding me to the same standards of the person I was a year back or 2 years back? And of course, people should be held accountable for their actions. I'm not saying that you could commit a crime, you could murder someone, and then the next day be like, oh, I'm not the same person I was yesterday. I don't think that would hold up in a court of law. I still hold very little association with the person I was. Maybe it's like a psychological thing where I'm just trying to, not feel guilty or whatever. But I am grateful for everything that my past self has done, for the successes, for the failures, for the stupid mistakes that hurt other people, because I've been able to learn from it and become a better person. I view it as if the torch has been passed to me. I'm shaking hands with my former self and saying, thanks, bud, but I'll take it from here. And my current self is constantly passing the torch on to my future self, hoping that he'll finally figure everything out, because I sure as heck haven't figured out this whole life thing yet, but I'm sure we might get there someday. And it's strange to view yourself from this third person perspective, but I think it can be quite useful in a way. Oftentimes, I just laugh at my past self and my thought patterns and the things I did, the cringy stuff I did, because how much of a fool I was. Even if it's like not objectively funny stuff. Like recently, I was stressing over passport applications because I thought my passport got lost in the post, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go to this embassy and fill out these forms and pay more money, and it's like time and da. I prayed, I had faith in God that everything will be okay, and it was okay. Just things like that, it's just amusing to think how like much of an overthinker I was. And it was interesting to view how confident I was in my own self-righteousness at one bit, because I was empathetic, but I just didn't really care, if that makes sense. Like, I could understand other people's feelings. I could understand why they're feeling them. I've experienced many of the same emotions that they've experienced, but I just didn't really put myself in their shoes, so to speak. My actions didn't really reflect that there was like other people's feelings at hand. And I've made great strides to improve that, but I don't get caught up in the mistakes I made. I don't feel this overwhelming shame. I just try to right a few wrongs, offer a few apologies to people, and learn from it, because that's all you really can do. You can't, again, depending on the severity of what you've done, you can't really be caught up in what your past self did, because you're no longer your past self. Again, you need to be held accountable. I'm not saying that we should just all, shake the past off and like act like nothing happened, but how can you grow if you're held down by the shackles of who you used to be? How can you learn to be a better person if you're constantly reminding yourself of your shortcomings? It just isn't sustainable. And it does bother me when people remind me of the mistakes I've made, because I'm no longer the person they're referring to. But I guess I can look at these instances in a more positive light, view them as reminders of how much I've grown and how there's still work to do, how I can't get complacent. Even if they're referring to something positive, I can't just rest on my laurels and be like, oh, I'm a fantastic person. I've always been a fantastic person. There's no need to keep improving. And I'm guaranteed to make a lot more mistakes, have a lot more regrets, a lot more experiences in the next 10 years. it's exciting in a way. Like, I'm excited to mess up, essentially, which is very strange because I know that my past self messed up so much. And I know 10 years from now, I'll be looking at my 20-year-old self thinking, what an idiot. But it's just sort of amusing because you can't really get offended by your past self, so to speak. It's like, you know yourself better than anyone else. You know the intention that you had. So like, I can just insult my past self or whatever, and I'm sure he'll be okay with it. And if I had to say something to my past self, whether it's me from 5 years ago or me yesterday, I would say don't be so sure of everything. Because everything that you believe in right now will be challenged. And maybe you'll end up changing your mind dozens of times. Maybe the thoughts and the life view and the way you do things right now will be completely different to the way you do things in 10 years. Which, I mean, yeah, surely. Like, I think something would be deeply wrong if you're like the exact same person that you were 10 years ago. Because I do see guys sometimes, they want to stay a kid. They're like in their mid-20s, early 30s, and they just act very like immature, they dress like they're 15, 16. They haven't really wanted to mature and progress and start acting like an adult. They just want to have the fun times, want to keep going out drinking or whatever. But that's a whole separate thing in itself. What I will say is that you just need to learn to love it. You'll never be right, and that's what keeps things interesting. You'll never be set in your ways. You'll never always have the correct answer. What you think right now will probably be disproven by some experience or some person that you've met. That's the beauty of it as well. The people that come into your life can truly change like the way that you view things. If I meet a girl in the next 10 years, she will completely alter my perception of love. And I just, you can feel anxiety towards it, but I'm just so excited by it. The fact that my life is just beginning now and I can acknowledge the mistakes that I've made as, you know, as a kid, whatever, but mainly in my teens and starting my 20s, being optimistic, thanking my past self, reprimanding my past self for all the silly things he did, but overall just being very grateful and making sure that I'm being the version of myself right now that my future self will be grateful for. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, bro. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. God bless, and as always, take care.